I've got something I'm genuinely so excited to share with you today. It feels a bit like a quiet, well, a profound little discovery, really. If you've got an aloe vera sitting on your windowsill right now, maybe looking a bit static year after year, this is absolutely for you. We're going to explore a completely natural, remarkably simple approach that literally transforms aloe vera care. It's a genuine shift from just keeping your plant alive to unlocking a level of vitality you probably didn't even know was possible. Okay, I want you to picture two aloe vera plants. Both of them started from the exact same size little pup right at the same time, sitting in the exact same potting mix right next to each other on a sunny windowsill. For 3 whole months, they were treated identically. But then, I changed just one thing for one of those plants. Just a single simple ingredient added to its monthly watering routine. Fast forward 6 months, and the difference is so dramatic, you'd honestly assume the larger one is an entirely different, much older plant. But no, it isn't. It's simply thriving, while the other one is just, well, surviving.
So it really makes you wonder, right? Why do most aloe vera plants just sit in the same pot, staying the exact same size, producing absolutely nothing for years at a time? I promise you, it's not because they're inherently slow growers or unhealthy. It's actually because they're missing one specific nutrient, a nutrient that unlocks explosive structural growth. And perhaps even more incredibly, there's a specific reproductive condition the plant absolutely must be in before it'll ever produce those little baby pups. And our secret ingredient? It creates exactly that condition. We're going to uncover what this is in just a moment, but first we kind of need to understand the root of the problem.
Which brings us to section 1, the desert plant misconception. Before we can actually fix the issue, we really have to look at the environment we're providing and address a very common, very understandable myth. It's completely normal to look at an aloe vera and think it requires, benign neglect. I mean, after all, it's a succulent, right? Succulents live in deserts, and deserts are harsh, nutrient-poor environments. So the logic goes, your aloe needs almost nothing from you. But this reasoning, while it's super common, is exactly what keeps our houseplants trapped in this frustrating state of suspended animation. There is a massive world of difference between a plant employing extreme drought survival mechanisms just to stay alive and a plant that is genuinely, vibrantly thriving.
Think about its native habitat in southern Africa or the Arabian Peninsula. Aloe vera doesn't actually grow in pure sterile sand. It grows in highly mineral-rich, rocky soils under blazing strong sunlight. And sure, it experiences long dry spells, but when the rain finally does come, it is heavy. This generous rainfall delivers a massive flush of available nutrients straight down to the root zone right before the dry period returns. Now, contrast that with a poor plant sitting on a windowsill, trapped in a small pot of old, depleted compost. It's experiencing the absolute minimum, and naturally, it returns the absolute minimum in growth.
Moving on to section 2, the secret ingredient revealed. This brings us to the solution, the missing element that bridges the gap between that sterile windowsill pot and the rich nutrient flushes of its native habitat. Okay, the secret ingredient is banana peel liquid, and here is exactly why it's such a game changer. Aloe vera's overall growth, its leaf thickness, and its pup production are all driven primarily by one single nutrient, potassium. When your aloe is sitting in standard houseplant compost, it's usually existing in a permanent state of low-level stress because that compost is deeply, deeply potassium deficient. The poor plant is using every ounce of its energy just to hold on. It literally just doesn't have the surplus energy required to grow large, thick leaves or expand its root network. And there is some fascinating plant science at play here when it comes to reproduction. Potassium is actually the specific nutrient that governs an aloe vera's reproductive signal. Think of it like a biological green light. When potassium levels are high, it signals to the plant that its environment is secure, resource-rich, and safe enough to invest the massive amount of energy required to actually produce offspring or pups. Without sufficient potassium, that signal is just never sent. So, why banana peels? Well, they are an absolute powerhouse for this exact requirement. They're extraordinarily rich in water-soluble potassium, which means it leaches right into the water and becomes immediately available to the roots without needing complex soil biology to break it down first. But they also provide phosphorus for strong roots and, crucially, magnesium. Now, here's a brilliant little fact for you. Magnesium actually acts as the central atom of the chlorophyll molecule. So when you provide it, those pale, tired leaves turn a rich, beautiful, deep green. The peels also give the plant calcium and magnesium to build that incredible, firm gel tissue structure inside the leaves. All right, section 3, preparation and core conditions. Let's look at how to actually put this all into practice. The method is wonderfully unhurried and takes almost zero active time on your part. You simply take 2 to 3 peels from ripe bananas. Give them a quick cut into smaller pieces just to increase the surface area, and pop them in a jar with 1 liter of water. Now, the vital detail here, and don't skip this, is to use room temperature water. Hot water can actually degrade some of the valuable potassium compounds before they even leach out, so room temp is perfect. Let it stand there for about 48 to 72 hours, remove the peels, and your magical liquid is ready. You're going to pour this, totally undiluted, directly onto the root zone, but only once a month. Pour it until water runs freely out the bottom drainage holes. And just use plain water for all your other normal waterings.
Oh, and there is an optional step you can add that works beautifully. You can stir just 1 single teaspoon of finely strained, used coffee grounds into your liquid right before you pour it. This gives the plant a tiny, very gentle boost of nitrogen for some lovely leafy growth. But more importantly, it adds a very mild acidity to the liquid, which actually creates the perfect pH environment for the aloe vera roots to efficiently soak up all that wonderful potassium. Now, of course, this liquid works its absolute best when the plant's basic foundational conditions are met. You'll want a south-facing window at a minimum for strong, bright light. You also really want a very free-draining soil mix, so about 1 part multi-purpose compost to 1 part perlite or maybe some coarse grit. And delightfully enough, you actually want a pot that is only slightly larger than the root ball itself. Being slightly pot-bound mechanically triggers the plant's reproductive response. When it actually feels the edges of its space, combined with that high potassium from our liquid, it decides, okay, it's time to create pups as a sort of survival and expansion strategy. It's really quite clever. Let's look at section 4, the growth timeline. Once you start this new routine, what should you actually look out for? I want to set some honest, really clear expectations here so you can just enjoy the journey of watching your plant transform. So in month 1, you'll start to see the overall color deepening as that magnesium we talked about replenishes the chlorophyll. Moving into months 2 and 3, you'll spot fresh new central leaf growth. Your plant has officially moved from basic survival mode into active growth. Then, in months 4 and 5, the potassium surplus really accelerates things and drives cell expansion. The leaves are going to become noticeably thicker and much firmer to the touch. And finally, between months 5 and 7, the real magic happens. On a well-managed plant, you'll see 3 to 5 little pups begin pushing right up through the soil around the base of your newly thriving parent plant. Which brings us nicely to section 5, harvesting aloe vera pups. When those little pups finally arrive, it is such a rewarding moment. Let's talk about the calm, proper way to welcome these new additions and eventually separate them safely. First things first, patience. Wait until you can gently brush the topsoil away and actually see that the pup has visible, independent white roots of its own. Once it does, remove the whole parent plant right out of the pot. Separate the pups super gently with your fingers. Really try to only use a clean knife cut where it's absolutely necessary. Now, here is a crucial piece of plant science for you. Leave the separated pups sitting out in the open air for about 24 hours before potting them up. This lets a natural callus form over any breaks, which safely prevents any fungal infections. Then, pot them up in a small pot with your compost and perlite mix and leave them completely dry for 2 whole weeks to encourage those new roots to stretch out looking for water. You can start feeding them after about a month. Section 6, reading your plant signals. As you spend more time caring for your aloe, you're bound to notice little changes. I want to frame these not as, reasons to panic or irreversible alarms, but just as simple, helpful communications from your plant. For instance, if you see brown tips, it's very often just a sensitivity to the fluoride found in everyday tap water. But here is a wonderful little bonus fact. That 48 to 72 hour soaking process for your banana peel liquid, it actually naturally degasses the water, allowing harmful chlorine and fluoride to just dissipate into the air. If your plant's leaves are leaning over, it's simply asking you for more light. Just give the pot a gentle quarter turn. And if the leaves go soft and somewhat translucent, the plant is telling you it's been overwatered. Don't worry, just unpot it, inspect the roots, let them dry out a bit, and use that repotting method we discussed with a grittier, more free-draining mix. You see, understanding these little signals is really the core philosophy of this whole explainer. Plants are communicating constantly through their color, their texture, and their growth rate. When we learn to just read those signals calmly and respond with the specific nutrients they're actually crying out for, like our simple potassium-rich liquid, we step right over the line. We stop being someone whose plant is merely surviving on a windowsill, and we become a gardener whose plant is genuinely, vibrantly thriving. It's incredibly rewarding. I am genuinely so excited for you to try this out and to watch your own plant absolutely transform. I really would love to hear from you too. Please leave a comment below telling me how long you've had your aloe vera and what it looks like right now.
I read every single one, and it is honestly a joy to share this whole growing journey with you. If you found this explainer helpful, please do give it a like and subscribe so we can just keep learning together. Thank you so much for your time today, and happy growing!